Hi, this is Megan with Monroe County Ag in the Classroom, and today we're going to do a fun activity that goes along with the book Tops and Bottoms by Janet Stevens. Now, I hope that you guys have already read this book in class and you know all about it and you know what the tops and the bottoms are. Our activity that we're going to do, let me show you the second page here. Our activity that we're going to do kind of reminds me of this second page of the book. If you still have this book in your classroom, you could have your teacher open it up and show you. On the second page, you can see here where the book folds, there is a top and a bottom on the second page. And our activity that we're going to do here today talks about the tops and the bottoms of vegetables. I already made one. So let me show you what we're going to do. So here is my plate, and it shows the tops. You can see the tops there of my vegetables, and it shows the bottoms of my vegetables. See there? I have my bottoms, they're beets and radishes and carrots, and my tops showed the celery and the corn and the lettuce and the broccoli. So our little plates here that we're going to do today, this activity will show our tops and our bottoms, just like in the story, right? Okay, so the materials that we're going to need to do our activity are our vegetable worksheet, 2 paper plates, a glue stick, scissors, and a grown-up or teacher is going to need a hole punch. And we need our little brad, teeny tiny little gold brad. And we're going to need crayons or colored pencils. And so the colors that I have of crayons and colored pencils is red, yellow, black, brown, green, orange, and blue. So the first thing that we're going to do to make our tops and bottoms is to color our vegetables. Now we want to color our vegetables real colors. They're not Dr. Seuss vegetables. So our leaves are going to be green, and the bottoms of our radishes and beets are going to be red. Our lettuce will be green. Our carrots will be orange. And I'm going to use the yellow on the corn just a little bit, okay? So let's color our vegetables real colors. Go ahead and get started. Okay, so I have colored my vegetables. Let me show you what my vegetables look like. So you can see up on top here, the corn, I colored all the leaves green and the cobs are green, the ears of corn, but the silks, and I colored the tassels yellow. And then here, the beet, I colored red. And where are my radishes? Oh, here they are. I colored my radishes red, except those top leaves are green. My lettuce is green. My celery and broccoli are green. And then my carrots, we all know what color carrots are, right? They're orange. And then the leaves on top are green. Okay, now that I have my vegetables colored, I'm going to very carefully cut them out. Now, there's a trick with cutting these out. You don't have to cut perfectly right next to the vegetable, but you have to get kind of close to them. So let me show you what I mean by that. I'm going to cut out my carrot here, and I'll show you what I mean when I say that you don't have to cut it exactly, but you have to get pretty close. So to fit all your vegetables on your plate in this activity, you're going to have to cut, for example, this is my carrots. You see I cut pretty close to those carrots, but I didn't cut on the black line, okay? I just cut as close as I could to those carrots. And that's what you want to do with the rest of your vegetables, okay? Cut them as close as you can, but you don't have to cut on the lines, okay? So go ahead and cut out your vegetables. Okay, so you should have your vegetables cut out. So let me show you how close I cut to mine. This is how close you need to cut to your vegetables, okay? See my lettuce? I didn't cut on the black lines, but I cut pretty close. And my beet, my celery. Doesn't have to be exactly perfect, but you got to get pretty close to fit all these veggies on there. There's my radishes. And you guys already saw my carrots. And my broccoli. Who likes broccoli out there? You know what? I love broccoli. I don't know if I liked broccoli when I was a kid. I think I liked it with cheese on it, but not any other way. But now I love broccoli. And finally, last but not least, my corn. So you can see I colored that tassel yellow, and I colored the silks yellow, but all the rest of that plant is green. And you see how close I cut to that, okay? That's how close you should have cut to your vegetables. So set your vegetables aside. The next thing we're gonna need is one of our plates, because you got 2 plates. We just need one right now. So here's one of my plates. What I'm going to do is fold this plate in half. Let me show you. I'm gonna fold my plate so it's like a hot dog bun. Fold it in half, and you should probably do this on the table. I'm just trying to show you what I mean. Fold it in half. Here, I'm gonna have to set it down. So I can fold it in half. Kind of gotta squish it. Here we go. Okay, or like a hard taco shell, that's kind of what it's like. So there you go, I folded it in half. When I fold this in half, I'm going to color, just like on my first plate here. You see my first plate, the bottom half of this plate is brown and the top half of this plate is blue. Blue for the sky and brown for the soil. So that is why I folded my plate in half. That way I have a guide to know how to color my plate. So on this top half of the plate, I'm gonna color it blue. And on the bottom half of the plate, I'm gonna color it brown. So go ahead and do that with your plate. Color the top half blue and the bottom half brown. Okay, so I have colored my first plate. Remember we folded it, so the top fold, this half of the plate was colored blue, and the bottom half, the bottom fold of this plate was colored brown, because remember this is the sky and this is the soil. Okay, so now that I have my plate colored, I can glue on my vegetables. Now I have made a couple of these tops and bottoms plates. So I can tell you from experience that the vegetables don't all fit on there any which way. You kind of have to know how to put them on there in order for all of them to fit. So the first thing we're gonna put on here is our broccoli. So get your broccoli. Remember, a broccoli is a tops, right? We eat the tops. These are actually the flowers of the broccoli that we eat. I like the stems too. Stems are good and crunchy. So I'm gonna take my broccoli, I'm gonna put some glue on it, and I am gonna put it on my plate, and I will show you where you need to put this broccoli in order for all your vegetables to fit. Don't use too much glue, because you know that's always a big mess. And remember, when we're gluing on our vegetables, we have to think about whether they're a top or a bottom, because that determines where we put them on our plate, right? So I want to show you my broccoli. I just glued this guy on there, and since he's a top, he's up on top. He's not down in the soil. We eat the stems and we eat the flowers of broccoli. So he's on top. He's right on that fold. You can see how I put him on there. And you can see how I kind of put him on the ridged part of the plate. That way we can fit all of our vegetables across, okay? Because it's a pretty tight squeeze to get all those on there. All right, so put him kind of on the ridge and make sure he's on the top. The next one we're going to do is our celery. We also eat the stems of celery, right? I like these leaves on the top too. That's some of my favorite parts of the celery, but we eat the tops of celery. So I'm gonna put some glue on my celery, and then we'll put him on right next to the broccoli. Okay, like I said, it's gonna be kind of a tight squeeze, so let me show you how close I put mine on my plate. You can see how close I put mine. They're kind of almost touching. That's how close they need to be. Remember, we eat the tops of celery, so we're not down in the soil. The celery's growing on the top. That's the part that we eat. Next, we're going to do our carrots. Now, carrots are different from celery and broccoli because we eat the bottoms of the carrots, don't we? We eat the root part of the carrots. So I'm gonna make sure that I line it up so that the root part is in the soil and the leaf part is up on top in the blue part of our plate. All right, I'm going to put some glue on him, on my carrots. It's pretty close to that celery, almost touching. See? See how my bottoms are in the soil and my tops are up in the blue part of the plate? I have it right through the middle there. Okay, and he's pretty close to that celery. Next, we're going to do the corn. That's our tallest plant on this plate, isn't it? Okay. All right, I got glue on my corn, and this one kind of has some, let me show you, kind of has some roots on it, doesn't it? So I'm going to kind of put the roots in the soil, and the rest of it will be up in the blue. Okay, and I'm definitely going to be touching my carrots with this one. Like I said, I know from experience, it's kind of hard to fit all these guys on there. It's a tight squeeze, and if you space them out too much, you'll run out of space at the end. All right, so you see my corn? It's kind of touching the carrots just a little bit. And I have my roots in the soil, and the green part of the plant is up above. Okay, next is my lettuce. And if you remember, this is what the lettuce one looks like. Okay, so our lettuce is going to kind of be underneath the corn, and lettuce is a top, right? We eat the leaves of lettuce. So that one's in the blue part of your plate. See my lettuce? Right underneath that corn. It's in the blue part. All right, next I'm going to do my radishes. And the radishes are the 3 little ones, okay? So I'm gonna put some glue on my radishes. And radishes, we eat the bottoms. We eat those red parts are bottoms that grow in the soil. So we gotta make sure that those are gonna be in the soil, just kind of like with our carrots, how we split it in the top and the bottom. Okay, and it's kind of touching the lettuce just a little bit so that it'll fit on the plate. And I'll show you what my radishes look like on my plate there. They're kind of on the lettuce, that's okay. Just to get it to fit, we'll have to do that. And the radishes are in the soil part, and the leaves are up in the blue. And finally, our beet. Only one single beet. When I was a kid, I hated beets. My grandma loved to bring beets over to our house. And I hated them with a passion. I had no desire to eat beets. Now that I'm a grown-up, I like beets. Okay, so here's my beet. I'm gonna put that on there. But my daughter, who's only 6 years old, she loves beets too. So beets aren't just for grown-ups, they're for kids too. Okay, so here we go. You can see my bottom of my beet is in the soil, and up here on the top, the green is up in the blue. All right, so now we have all of our vegetables on our plate. You see that? Looks pretty cool, huh? It's kind of colorful with those different vegetables on there. So the next thing we're going to do is take our second plate that we haven't colored yet, and we're gonna do that same fold that we did on the first plate with this plate, okay? So it kind of looks like a taco shell. So go ahead and fold your plate in half. Okay. Folded my plate in half, so it looks like a taco shell. Now what I'm going to do is write tops and bottoms on this plate. Let me get the one that I finished so you can remember what I did here. So remember, the tops and the bottoms is on these plates. And something I found too, see, I kind of crowded mine a little bit. So the top of my B is kind of cut off here, and the top of my T's on bottoms is cut off. So I'm gonna, on this one that I'm gonna do, I'm gonna kind of scoot it down a little bit. And tops is just fine where it's at. But on the bottoms, I'm gonna scoot it down so that my top plate doesn't cut it off, okay? So I'm gonna write tops on the top half and bottoms on the bottom half. And your teacher, grown-up, will help you with spelling those words if you don't know how to spell them. Or you could do brave spelling, right? Tops, T-A-P-S, tops. So I wrote tops on my top half on my plate. And now I'm gonna write bottoms on the bottom half. And remember, like I said, I'm gonna scoot it down just a little bit so that whenever I have it all together, it doesn't cut the top of those words off. I'm gonna scoot that down just a little. I'll show you what I mean. Bottoms. So look, I scooted the bottoms down just a little bit, kind of more towards the middle of this bottom half. That way I don't cut it off whenever I have my plates all together. So next I'm going to cut these plates in half. Okay, this next part you'll probably have to have a grown-up help you with, or a grown-up might do this part for you, okay? Because the next part we're going to be using the hole punch. So what we need to do to put the whole thing together that we've done is I'm going to take my tops and my bottoms here that we cut in half. I'm going to fold it down just like it was still, let's pretend like it's still together, okay? So I'll fold that down and I'll squish it together, kind of bend my plate, so that I can put a hole punch over here in this corner. Okay, just a little ways in. And grown up or teacher that is doing this, take note, whenever I put the hole punch in, the hole, you see the flat rim around the outside of this plate? Just scooch in just a little bit from that. That's kind of your guide of where you want your hole, okay? So I'm gonna scooch just in from that flat part of that plate, just a little bit in, okay? So if you can see where I'm putting that hole there, right there. Okay, so there's my holes, my second plate. So whenever I unfold this and open it up, this is how it looks, okay? Because these are going to be the top part of that plate. And then on my bottom plate, right here, I want my holes to be over on this side. Let's see here. Over on this side where the broccoli is, because I'm going to assemble my plate and my brad will go right here. So right here where the blue and the brown meet, in from that flat ridge on the edge of the plate, I'm going to put my hole in this plate. Right in the middle. Okay, so there next to my broccoli, I have the hole there on the colored plate. And so to assemble the whole thing, I'm going to take this plate, my colored plate with the vegetables on it. I'm going to take my tops like this and my bottoms like this, and I'm going to line all three of those holes up. Okay, so I'm going to take those and line up those holes over there. And I bet you can guess what we're going to do with the brad. That's the next step. So since I have all those holes lined up there on the side, I'm going to take my brad and stick it through. I'm trying to show you can see it. Stuck my brad through, and I'm going to open it up on the back. Okay, so now I have, whenever I open up the top part of my plate, I can see the tops. I can see the tops of my beets and my radishes and my lettuce, the tops of my corn, and my carrots and celery and broccoli. And then on the bottom, gotta move it just a little bit, the bottom, I can see the bottoms of my beets and my radishes and my carrots. Pretty cool, huh? Just like our story with tops and bottoms. All right, I had a good time making this with you guys today.